beautiful people, welcome to Bree Talks Books. I'm Bree, and you already know, I'm here to talk about books, so let's go. In today's video, I'm going to be doing the Cozy Autumn book tag. Before we get started, let me point out the obvious. I moved, so different setup and still kind of playing around with lighting and yeah, how I want to film this, but this is what we're trying for today, so hopefully you like it. I know I've been gone for a minute. The school year started, so if you didn't know, I'm a teacher, so been doing the online virtual teaching thing, and that has been very time consuming. Also, I don't really like staring at screens for longer than I have to, and editing requires me to do that, so bear with me. But I'm happy to be back. So yeah, let's just get started here. I have notes, so if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes. Okay, so for the first question, what book always reminds you of autumn? You know I couldn't just pick one, so I have three. First we have Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This is a sci-fi adult novel, and it follows Victor and Eli. They are roommates in college, and they're trying to discover how to become extraordinary. So it reminds me a lot of like the X-Men, like totally different, like definitely original, but just gives me X-Men vibes. This reminds me of fall because it's pretty dark. I would say V.E. Schwab, especially her adult books, they tend to be dark anyway, and that's why I love them. Well, and like the school setting, like the dark academia kind of thing for part of it. It is dual perspective and it is multiple timelines, but I don't know, it just gives me that like dark fall feeling. The next book that reminds me of fall or always makes me think of autumn is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in a YA fantasy. It's a duology, so there's only 2 books. This follows 6 different perspectives, so multiple characters, and basically they're like from the slums and they get together to do a heist. It's definitely like dark and gritty and like this grungy like urban fantasy type of setting, and that's why it makes me think of fall. This is definitely one of my like top favorite series of all time. Absolutely love this. I cannot recommend it enough. I will say it does start off like slower, so if you like character driven stories like I do, you'll love it. Otherwise you might be like, what's all the excitement about for a little bit, but then it picks up, and it's only a 2-book series, so it's beautiful, it's amazing. I love well, not every one of these characters, but I love like 5 of these characters. So yeah, highly recommend. And the final book is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. So this is a witch's story, so of course it makes me think of fall. It's a YA fantasy as well. I would consider this more new adult though, but anyway, that's a whole other discussion for another day. This is a witch's story, like I was saying. I don't know what time period, old Salem witch trials time period. It takes place in France, follows Lou, she's the witch, and she has escaped her coven. She's in hiding and she ends up in not so great circumstances, and this is when she runs into Reed, who is a witch hunter. Reed doesn't know that Lou is a witch, but because of an altercation that occurs, they end up having to be married. We get to see like both of their perspectives, and it's a hate to love romance, and it just reads really fast, super fun. I'm currently reading the 2nd book in this series. I don't know how many books there are going to be, but definitely fall witchy vibes, which I love. Question number 2, what is your favorite autumnal cover? So this is a good segue. I did not plan this. This is Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurin, so the sequel to Serpent and Dove. We're still following Lou and Reed in this one, as well as some other characters. I mean, look at it. It's red, it's gold, we got reflections going. Isn't it beautiful? Yes, we love it. Question number 3, what is your favorite autumnal drink to read with? So for this one, I'm picking this chai tea, which honestly, I love all the yogi teas, and I'm always drinking them. I typically go for like more richer, warm flavors during the fall time, so this is one that I really love. Question number 4, do you prefer to read late at night or early in the morning? So for this one, it's a little difficult because I I definitely am not the greatest at staying up late. I will not read well in the morning either. So if I have to pick between the two, I would say late at night, just because that tends to happen more often, is that I read before bed. Question number 5, Halloween is coming. What is your favorite spooky read? So for this question, I have picked a series that I read via audiobook. So I will insert an image here somewhere. But that is the Diviners series by Libba Bray. So there's 4 books in this series taking place in the 1920s in New York. So amazing setting. And it's a paranormal fantasy. The first one, we're following Evie. She ends up having to stay with her uncle in New York. So while she's staying with her uncle, he's actually working with the police in order to solve a murder or like a serial killer. They're trying to catch a serial killer. There's been multiple murders that have been happening, and Evie has a gift where she can hold an object and she knows like the history of that object. So she's trying to use her powers to help solve this serial killer case. There's other stories that are happening too, lots of characters. And as the series goes on, the stories come together. So yeah, I love this series as well. And the audiobooks are absolutely phenomenal. The narrator is so good. Like the killer in the first one has a song that he sings when he's doing his murders or whatever, because of course we get to see it from his perspective too. I don't do horror things, so it's probably like not scary, but it was scary for me. And like the way she sings the song about Naughty John, I get like chills thinking about it. This was not an audiobook that I could listen to before bed. So if you're a scaredy cat like me, you might not want to listen to it before bed. Question number 6, what is the ultimate comfy read for you? So I am terrible about rereading books. It doesn't happen. I always say it's going to. I always say I'm gonna get better about it. And I definitely plan to. I have specific books planned out that I wanna read or reread, but then there's new books that come out and I pick those up instead. That being said, I love like going back to my favorite authors. So I'm kind of getting the best of both worlds because it's like a comfy read, but I'm already familiar with the writing style. If it's a series, the characters and the world and all that stuff. So for this one, I'm going with Sarah J. Maas, because why not? If you don't know, these are very, very popular books. Both YA fantasy series. I actually am still not finished with Throne of Glass. I know. I am still on Empire of Storms, but we'll get to it. It's gonna happen. I'm very excited. I do this thing where I put off books that I know I'm gonna love. I know, it's dumb. But anyway, A Court of Thorns and Roses is a trilogy, and I read this a few years ago, marathoned it, and I love this. Really, it's addictive. It's just fun. And the same thing goes for Throne of Glass. They're just like super fast paced. They're easy to read. I love it. Oh, I didn't even say anything what they're about. This one's like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, which if you know me, you know I love it. The rest of the trilogy isn't that retelling, but that's how it starts off. But yeah, so it's Beauty and the Beast, and it's fae. So magic, fairies, love it. And in Throne of Glass, we're following an assassin princess. Like, I don't need nothing else. This is all I want. Question 7, what is your favorite autumnal reading snack? Ooh, this one is also difficult because I don't tend to like snack while reading. I'll eat first because I'll make a mess. But if I were gonna be reading and snacking, I would probably say candy. That's Halloween. So yeah, definitely gonna go with candy. My favorite candy is basically anything that's fruity and like gummy stuff, but without gelatin. So Sour Patch Kids and Airheads. Oh yeah, and I love Nerds too, which I guess those aren't gummy, but you get my point. Candy. Question 7, what is your favorite autumnal candle to burn while reading? I'm obsessed with candles, but for this one in particular, I went with the Bath & Body Works candle Pumpkin Clove. So this smells amazing. I think because of like the clove, it makes the pumpkin not like too sweet and overpowering, but like definitely gives that warm, cozy fall feeling. So, and this is like out almost because I burn it all the time. Love it. Question number 9, when you're not reading, what is your favorite autumnal activity? I love binge watching TV shows. Leigh and I will spend hours watching television and then not watch TV for the rest of the week. It's just, I don't know, we both do it. We have fun. Currently, we've been watching The Umbrella Academy, so I highly recommend that. And So that's our Netflix show. And then on Prime, we've been watching The Boys. I also really like that show. Superpowers, magic. It's like a sci-fi fantasy thing, and they give a lot of commentary on society. So of course I love it. I also really love watching fall movies, so I love like rewatching Halloween Town, like all of them, and like Hocus Pocus, of course, Twitches, all of that. All of the Halloween movies that are not actually scary movies. If it's made for a child, I want to watch it. And lastly, for question 10, what is your current autumn reading list? So this is probably unrealistic, but here are all the books that I plan to read this fall. I'm just going to quickly say the title and the authors, because yeah, it's a lot of books. So, The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill, Dread Nation by Justina Ireland, The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones, Pet by Akwaeke Emezi, Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire, Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno-Garcia, The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson, and Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. So some of these books I've already started. They're all fantasy or sci-fi, paranormal type books. There's a little bit of everything. Got some middle grade, some YA, and some adult in here. So hopefully I can get to, you know, a few of them, if not all of them, before the end of the fall season. So yeah. All right, everybody, thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments what you're currently reading, and if you made it to this point in the video, go ahead and leave a pumpkin emoji in the comments. Bye!